Mendelson, you call the union celebrating Trump's takeover just despicable. You literally attack the police in your statements. You're calling
That's not correct.
The union supporting the president and the National Guard here, helping them every day on the streets. You're quoted as saying that's just despicable.
Did you catch that? Crime drops, terrorists arrested, drug rings busted, and suddenly the room gets very uncomfortable. The moment hard numbers hit the table, the excuses start flying. Carjackings down 87%, illegal criminals off the streets, and Democrats still can't bring themselves to say thank you. Instead, they dodge, deflect, and debate semantics. If that didn't expose the priorities in that room, nothing will. Hit like, subscribe, and stay with me. Let's watch this whole thing before I break down exactly why that exchange was a demolition job.
You know, something else we're not going to tolerate is crime. On August 11th, President Trump announced major steps to address the out-of-control crime in the district. Thank God, because this is my 5th year in Congress, and living in D.C. and working here has been a nightmare. It is. The crime is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And let's talk about some of that. Since President Trump thankfully brought in the National Guard, carjackings have decreased by 87%. Nearly 1,200 people have been arrested, including known members of MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. Those are both foreign terrorist organizations. By the way, many of them came across the border while Democrats controlled this country in the past 4 years. Federal law enforcement seized nearly 120 firearms and busted a drug trafficking ring attempting to smuggle fentanyl, PCP, and cocaine into D.C. A joint effort by ICE and MPD arrested an illegal alien previously charged with sex crimes against a child. D.C. went 12 days without a single homicide. Can you imagine that that's something that the National Guard had to be here to do? It's unbelievable to anybody that is right-minded. U.S. Attorney Pirro reported that 88% of arrests made between the start of the federal deployment on August 11th and August 25th resulted in charges being filed. This is substantially higher than in 2024, where the Biden-appointed U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves charged suspects only 57% of the time. That's because he was busy chasing down MAGA grandmas that went into the Capitol. So I've got a simple question for you. Mayor Bowser, do you prioritize criminals or the victims?
I prioritize law-abiding D.C. residents, visitors, and workers.
So that would be law-abiding citizens and victims. Do you support the police, Mayor Bowser?
Yes.
Mr. Mendelson, do you prioritize criminals or victims of criminals?
I believe in swift and certain justice. And
no, I asked you either one. Victims of criminals, of crime, or the criminals themselves. Which one do you prioritize?
As I understand the question, victims.
Victims. Do you support the police, Mr. Mendelson?
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Schwab, I'll ask you the same questions.
Unfortunately, hurt people. So sometimes victims are victims one day and
so
are
you
perpetrators
prioritize
the
the criminals, is that what you're saying, over victims of crime?
I prioritize making up my city as safe as it can possibly be.
I'll take that as criminals. Do you support police, Mr. Schwab?
Of course, we work very closely with MPD every day.
Mr. Jackson, the same questions for you.
Definitely prioritize victims, and I stand with the 24 states that are suing the Trump administration for withholding $1 billion in victim service funds.
So you're against cleaning up crime in D.C. Thank you for that. I've got an article here. The D.C. Police Union head is the biggest cheerleader of Trump's D.C. police takeover. So the police here in the district support the efforts and the help from the president. However, I've got a quote here from Mr. Mendelson. You call the union celebrating Trump's takeover just despicable. You literally attack the police in your statements. You're calling
That's not correct.
The union supporting the president and the National Guard here, helping them every day on the streets. You're quoted as saying that's just despicable.
You're taking that out of context. I criticized the president of the FOP because he is a liar.
Oh, so you are against the police. Thank
No,
you for clearing that up.
no.
Also, I have
President of the
I
FOP.
also
I
have
believe our
one
time
last
has
thing, Mr.
President
Chairman.
of the FOP, not the police.
I reclaim my time. Lastly here, Mr.
Gentlelady's time's
Mendelson,
expired.
you,
Gentlelady's time's expired.
Now that you've seen the full exchange, let's stop pretending this was complicated. It wasn't. The numbers speak louder than the talking points. Carjackings down 87%. Nearly 1,200 arrests. Known MS-13 members taken off the streets. Illegal criminals charged with horrific crimes removed from communities. 12 straight days without a homicide. That's not rhetoric, that's results. And those results came after President Trump stepped in with the National Guard. The Republican lawmaker did exactly what leadership looks like. She brought receipts. She didn't argue feelings. She didn't hide behind buzzwords. She cited data, arrests, firearms seized, drug trafficking shut down. And what did the other side do? They squirmed. They hedged. They tried to philosophize crime away with hurt people. That's not policy, that's a therapy session. When asked a simple question, do you prioritize criminals or victims? The hesitation was deafening. It should not take 3 attempts to say victims. It should not require a law degree to answer whether you support police. And when the police union supports federal help and Democrats call it despicable, then backpedal when confronted, that's not confusion. That's political panic. And let's talk about that charging rate. 88% under the new deployment versus 57% before. That's the difference between enforcing the law and shrugging at it. That's the difference between protecting citizens and protecting narratives. The Republican didn't raise her voice, she raised the facts. She forced clear answers where there were none. And the most telling moment wasn't what was said. It was the discomfort when results were read out loud. Because success in reducing crime doesn't fit the orange man bad script. At the end of the day, this wasn't about partisanship. It was about safety. One side pointed to falling crime and said this works. The other side tried to change the subject. When the numbers are this strong, the outrage isn't about crime policy, it's about losing control of the narrative. And that's exactly why this exchange hit so hard.